Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. The audio should be better today, I apologize. Sometimes my mic just like disconnects, reconnects, and it just messes up the audio without me realizing it. Anyways, that's not the point. The point is we're going to be talking about the market, Tesla, and everything today. Beautiful day. Unfortunately, I missed a run-up. I'm so sad, but I'll explain my mistake, I guess. But nonetheless, Tesla ending the day up 4.67%, which puts us just 1 cent over $900, ending the day at 901 cents, which is pretty poetic, let's just say that. Now, guys, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, it is a pretty wonderful day. And I did say that, Tesla is potentially setting up a bullish pattern. Now, the pattern that I was a little so-so on, remember this one, the head and shoulders, the inverted head and shoulders, the bullish head and shoulders here that I was talking about, it actually played out. This is the one I wasn't like that confident in. It was like, to me, it was a 50-50, honestly. It wasn't like the best, but not the worst. It was like, kind of coin flip, let's just say that. However, it did play out, right? You can see it did come down. It did hold this area. Like I said, they didn't go below this kind of like 855 area. It pretty much bounced right off of it, actually, which is perfect, poetic. But I personally didn't feel confident enough to enter. But then I did enter over here. But the issue was I kind of entered just for the sake of having a bullish position for next week at least. But then I exited it, unfortunately. And the reason I exited it was because it was just extremely high risk, because it could have easily rejected here and then just completely collapsed. And the risk was just too high. And then I kind of missed the boat. So I'm a little bit sad about that. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you just missed it. It's fine. It'll always come back to you. That's not a problem whatsoever. But the point is the fact that not only did the inverse head and shoulders play out, but we also kind of broke out of this, mini kind of bull flag, or this kind of, potential cup, the cup pattern, the cup and handle. Being the handle, of course, here being, potentially broken out, which is not bad. Now, what do I want to see next, right? This is so overall actually not looking that bad. I will still say that there are still some bearish things that I'm like still a little bit scared of, but we'll go over everything together, right? So the main things I want to talk about today, instead of the usual things we talk about on the daily, the indices, or not the indices, sorry, the moving averages and stuff. Maybe we'll cover it later, but I think there's more important things to talk about. First and foremost, on the daily, you can see, let's go on the 4-hour, makes it a little bit nicer looking. It's very similar to the daily, the 4-hour, just kind of spreads it out a little bit better when we're looking at it on this kind of time frame, so it makes it easier to describe. But nonetheless, what I'm seeing at the moment, guys, is first and foremost, we are essentially playing this uptrend right here, this red line. We are essentially more or less in this uptrend, give or take, right? That's number one. We want to obviously hold that. The second this potentially breaks, that, obviously could be really bad. We'll see what happens with that. This is a very rough red line. It's not honestly the most picture perfect, but, it's fine, whatever. I mean, I just kind of drew it for the sake of having something. We never really closed below it, you can see, right? So that's kind of why, but I would take it with a grain of salt, in all honesty. I'm just going to delete it. You know what? On second thought, I don't really like it that much. But what I do like is the fact that we broke out of the handle, or the bullish flag, whatever you want to call it. Idea similar. Now what I want to see is, let's say on the 1 hour, for instance, I want to see Tesla come back down, and I want it to retest this breakout. That to me will be a confirmation of the breakout and would be quite bullish. So essentially what I would want to see sometime early next week, maybe by Tuesday or something like that, maybe by Tuesday, by Wednesday, is I'd want to see it to come down somewhere around this level, 850, 860, anywhere in this range, bounce off of this flag that we just broke out of that ended up being resistance several times. And if this is successful and we hold, then we can potentially start rallying back up to maybe even all the way back up to like, 940 at least, I would say. Like, I would be surprised if we don't get to at least 940, assuming this holds. Assuming we get this kind of move and we hold here, 940, I think, would be like almost guaranteed. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed, not financial advice, make your own decisions, do your own research, etc., etc. But it would be quite bullish, and I would be quite bullish. So that's something I would personally love to see. There's also a chance we just completely rally up. Now, I don't think we'll do that. And the reason I don't think we'll do that is because the SPY is looking like it wants a bit of a breather. You can see the SPY is essentially in this kind of ascending wedge, which is overall net bearish, because the second we break out of this to the downside, most likely, that will be really bad for the market. However, it doesn't seem like we're ready to do that just yet. So, and the reason is because the RSI still looks pretty okay for now. It doesn't look too bad yet. So I wouldn't be surprised if the SPY, probably early next week, comes back down, probably to like 420, 421, somewhere in that very low 420 range, probably bounces and then makes one more high somewhere up here, maybe around like 430, low 430s. That to me is what I'm personally expecting. And then from there, we probably fall down. And that would actually fit with Tesla quite well, because as the SPY makes this move down to like that 420-ish range, that would be, pretty picture perfect for Tesla to have, I guess an excuse, if you will, to come down, make the confirmation breakout, and then also bounce up with the SPY and probably come back up to around 940. Now, that's kind of what I'm personally expecting. However, That's the bullish aspect of it. The bearish aspect of it is the fact that it still looks like on the RSI that it's not looking very, very bullish. Like on the 4-hour, on the daily, it's looking like it's just setting up a bear flag. Usually a bear flag is when you have like a massive move down and then a move, like an inverted flag, if you will, going upwards. Literally the opposite of a bull flag, right? A bull flag, you have a massive move up and then kind of like a sloped down sort of, bull flag kind of wedge sort of pattern over here, if you will, and then you break out and move back up again, right? Literally the same thing for a bear flag. You move massive down and then you have kind of an ascending wedge and then you move down again. And that on the RSI is essentially what we're setting up and potentially setting up here. So we'll see what happens with that. That to me is a little bit spooky on the daily, on the 4-hour, probably even on the 3-hour. You can see, right? Very, very, pretty obvious one, right? Kind of like this. I'll just give you guys a rough idea. Right, so you have the bottom one there and you have the top here, something like that, right? So that to me is something to be concerned of. Like this to me is a little concerning. And I would definitely be like, really watching for that because this could be really bad. So just as an FYI, right? That's one aspect that I'm bearish about. Another thing that I'm a little bit bearish about that may happen, we'll see, of course, but if this plays out the way I think it will, I think it might happen, would be this 940 level. This 940 level is going to be really important. So if this pattern, we come back down, retest successfully, come back up and play out this cup and handle pattern, normally this should actually give us a pretty nice run easily into the thousands. However, we aren't in a normal market. So if we do come back down and retest or whatever and we rally, essentially at whatever point, once we most likely do rally back up to like, let's say 940, which I think there's a decent chance we will, again, not financial advice, make your own decisions, do your own research. If we cannot break 940, if we get rejected around this like 935, 940 level, and we don't break and make a new high, that's like extremely bearish because then we would essentially just be making a double top. A double top is essentially when you're rallying up and you make an M shape on double top and you pretty much just collapse from there. Again, that is extremely bearish, right? So it would be something like this, and then you go back down. That's a double top pattern. It's a very common pattern. It's a pattern that like any trader or anyone like pays attention to. It's a very easy pattern to spot. And yeah, it's very common. Similar to a double bottom or double top, triple bottom, all similar concepts or ideas behind them, right? So that right there is something I'm also a little bit scared of. I don't want that to happen, but regardless, we'll worry about that when and if the time comes. For now, I am a little bit more bullish and bearish short term. Again, I want to make this crystal clear, short term, because I personally think as long as Tesla doesn't somehow just magically collapse back under early next week or just next week in general, as long as we have the red days, in this case, again, the red days are important because this is what essentially solidifies a healthy breakout. If we can come down and retest, again, no lower than 850 in my opinion. I don't want to go lower than 850. It depends when, I guess, but like 850 to 840, you really don't want to go below that anymore, right? You really don't. If we can come down, retest this breakout, not go below this red line, which again, will be somewhere around that level I just mentioned. Let's say 840 for simplicity. It just depends on when. Then that essentially would be really good. And that would confirm that we most likely will go up to 940 at least. And then if we can break 940, that's good. Then we can start talking about levels above that. If we cannot break 935 to 940 and we start getting rejected, and we start getting some, decent red, that's really bad. And that is extremely bearish. So again, be really careful, guys. But ultimately, short-term, guys, I am expecting an ultimate move up to around 940-ish, give or take. And then we'll, of course, revisit that when the time comes. But that is currently what I'm seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a very quick look at the weekly because the weekly candles are, good to look at once the market closes. Ultimately, not a bad market or not a bad weekly candle. Obviously showing more bullishness than bearishness, which is good. Getting a nice little bounce. The candle itself looks not too bad. Could be a little bit better in terms of like extra bullish, but it's not bad. It's a decently looking bullish candle. It ended higher than last week's and ended higher than this week's. Shows a lot of buying pressure. So shows a little bit of selling pressure up here, but nothing too crazy, definitely showing a lot more buying than selling. But the issue is the fact that this area that we're up here, I just talked about, this like 900 to 940 area, you can clearly see there's a lot of the supply, right? There's a lot of supply, a lot of people selling in this area, a lot of trading happening within this region. So you want to be careful with this specific area, guys. It is something to definitely pay attention to. But that is essentially what I'm seeing at the very moment, ladies and gentlemen. Again, ultimately expecting a move to 940. Hopefully we get a retrace because if we do, I'm also going to be entering a bullish position if we retrace trace back to, again, like 850-ish, give or take, like 10 points, let's say, I will personally enter a bullish position on that. If we don't, and then we keep rallying, then, it's fine. Sometimes you just miss the rally. It is what it is. I'm not going to FOMO in. I'm going to be patient and wait to see how it reacts to this level up here, which I think will be extremely crucial and extremely important, because this, in my opinion, up here, if and when we get up here, can dictate pretty much a lot of the future movement that's going to be potentially coming our way. So yeah, that's all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I have to say. So let me know what you think about it down below, and I'll see you guys on Monday. So have a good weekend. Peace.